Family, friends, saints and ain'ts, hello. Happy Thursday, January 23rd, 2025. This is what I like to call Radiant Rap. Why? Because we talk about things to be radiant. And what does that mean to be radiant? Well, radiant is my acronym for the things I believe that we need to be healthy and whole, which are rest, activity awareness, knowing exactly what we are doing, being aware of it, being present, diet, introspection, which is our prayer and meditation, agua, drinking water and staying hydrated, note taking, which includes journaling and writing things down, and training of the mind and body. And we try to touch on those things here. Well, this month, there are health observances, which include Thyroid Awareness Month, Glaucoma Month, Cervical Health Awareness Month, National Blood Donor Month, and Stalking Awareness Month. Well, we have one more week after today in January. I'm going to talk about one of those things. If you want to weigh in on which one I speak about, then do share, do tell. You can do that, on the replay if you don't see this live. It is also January 23rd is National Security Technician Day. So hats off to the national security people. I know a lot of people are starting to get degrees in cyberspace security and all that. National Handwriting Day. Well, that's an art that is leaving us. I don't know if young people know how to handwrite, the younger generation. So it's an art. It is also National Pie Day. And according to a poll that was done, apple pie was the most popular pie. Yep, January 23rd. A couple of important people that were born on this day. John Hancock, important enough that maybe not today, but in my generation, we would say, we want your John Hancock. I mean, it was actually the term used for your signature. Well, he was born in 1737 and passed in 1793. He was the first person to sign the Declaration of Independence. William Morgan, who was born in 1870, died in 1972. He was a PE instructor who invented the mintonette. Do you know what the mintonette is? The mintonette? I didn't know what it was. Well, it's the volleyball. Yep, he invented the volleyball. And then Gertrude B. Elion, was born in 1918. She passed in 1999. Well, she was a drug researcher who developed leukemia and herpes drug treatments. Odes to Miss Elion. Ruth Herring is another person who contributed a lot to, and for me, this is a personal one. She was born in 1955 and passed in 2018. She was a chess player and president of the U.S. Chess Federation. And why is that important to me? This is just something that I want to pick up. I want to learn how to play chess. And my husband bought me a chess board this year. So that is on my list to do for 2025. Elizabeth Blackwell, this day in 1893, became the first female doctor. All right, so she's a baddie. And I want to give hats off to, you like chess, Dennis? I'm learning. I'm slow at learning. We're 23 days into the year, and I'm still kind of getting used to my what the pieces are. So I got a long way to go, sir, but I'm going to get there. So yes, that was the U.S. That was Ruth Herring, and then I just mentioned Elizabeth Elizabeth Blackwell became the first female doctor, and that was in 1893. And what I wanted to say about that was there are others who came before her that didn't get the official degree, but they saved lives and they were into medicine and they don't get credit for it. But we will give Miss Blackwell her shout out for sure. Also on this date, one other thing I wanted to mention for this date, in 1986, inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for the first time. The first members of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame were Little Richard, Chuck Berry, James Brown, Ray Charles, Sam Cooke, all my favorites, Fats Domino, Everly Brothers. I think I might have wrote that wrong. Everly Brothers. Yeah. Everly Brothers. I need to look them up. I don't really know much about them. Buddy Holliday, Jerry Lee Lewis, and then Elvis. The rest of them I know much about. Okay, let me just, before I talk about our topic today, vegan, for better or for worse, mention that the Make products that I have available, there are 6 of them. There's a couple of promotions, and there are, through Saturday night, cash rebates for the collections. So you can check out my stories or reach out to me if you want more information on that. It's up to a $90, actually $94 saving. And if you want to know more about that, let me know. All right. Yes, it is vegan for better or for worse. And the reason I have a special stake in it is because for 3 years now, I've been vegan. And there's a lot of conversation about it. It's actually one of the buzzwords. People use that like they use sugar-free or fat-free. It's a word that is being used in advertising to attract people. So people think if it's vegan, then that's, so good, or it's something I definitely couldn't do. So let's just talk about it. For better or for worse, vegans, which is basically plant-based. If you are vegan, and some vegans will go even beyond this. I am a vegan that still has a leather coat and a jacket and shoes. I mean, there are some things, a couple purses. There are supplements that I'll take that are not vegan, like a collagen I will take. But for the most part, no dairy, no animal products do you put in your body. That's basically a vegan. You can be plant-based and still be a vegetarian. You just mostly plants. But if you don't ingest animal products like milk, eggs, cheese, a lot of people don't want to go there, then you give those things up if you're vegan. Okay, so cons. First of all, I just want to say this. There is no perfect diet. Do you understand that? What's the question? Denise, is that how you say it? Am I saying your name right? Yes or no? Denise. Why do I do that? So I'm not sure I understand the question, and I'd love to answer it. Dennis. Okay. Sorry, Dennis. Why do I do veganism? Is that the question? Be more specific, and I'll answer it. Okay. There is no perfect diet. You understand that? However, most will agree, and most people will agree on that as well, because there's pros and cons. That's why I'm talking about it. Okay, and I'll answer your question. Why do I do a plant-only diet? Good question, and I'll answer that in just a second. I just want to finish this thought. There's no perfect diet. Most people will agree on that. And most people will also agree that there are essential things that you need in your diet for it to be a healthy diet. And those things consist of healthy carbohydrates. Let me say something about that because people think, oh, carbs, that's bad. Well, you know what? Fruits and vegetables are carbohydrates, okay? So they're not all bad. And whole grains, unless you have celiac disease, there are people that have wheat sensitivities, whole grains are good for you. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. To answer your question, Dennis, my journey to becoming plant-based or vegan was a health decision. I genetically, in my family, we have a lot of hypertension, cancer, things like that, autoimmune diseases. And when I got into my 50s and I started developing high blood pressure or hypertension and a hyperthyroidism disease, it was like, okay, let me try it and see if it helps. And it helped me. So it worked for me. And so I'm sticking to that diet. I, for a year, went off of high blood pressure medication altogether. I have since, I'm 62 now, had to go back on a very low dose. But the autoimmune, the hyperthyroidism has, they say, doctors say, have gone into remission. I say I'm cured of it. So that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Okay, a couple other things. I hope I answered your question. If I didn't, you can put another question in the chat. Thank you for the question. It was a great one. So no perfect diet. You must get enough protein. And most people would say, with a plant-based diet, you don't get enough protein. Okay, most people aren't getting enough protein, regardless of what diet, unless those carnivores out there, and they're setting themselves up for a whole lot of issues if they are carnivores, meat. Other people aren't getting enough protein, so that's an issue. And that's a legitimate concern, because you do have to, as a plant-based person, as a vegan, you do have to be very aware and knowledgeable to make sure that you do get enough protein. A couple other things about the diet and the advertisement around being plant-based or vegan. You can still have a very unhealthy diet, a diet that has a lot of processed foods. If you saw my picture in my story, there was a picture of marshmallows, and it has this big word vegan on it, and that's nothing but sugar. Oreo cookies, I believe, are vegan. I don't think there's any dairy in them. So you can have too much sugar, too much processed food, too much fat, like even healthy fats out of proportion is not good. And like I already said, not enough protein. Okay, so the pros, and when you eat a healthy diet, you will get a complete protein. So regardless of which diet you're using, you need to have a complete protein. And studies and research have showed that people, if not completely vegan, but they go more towards plant-based, they can really reverse a lot of things like prediabetes, diabetes numbers, get A1C numbers improve, their blood pressure gets more stable, their energy levels improve, their weight, they can go to a healthier weight. Now, that's not to say that you can't do some of those things with some of the other diets, but cholesterol is a big one as well. And not to mention decreasing the footprint for a better environment when we're not consuming and using so much of our resources for the meat industry. And I know the meat industry don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. So you got to make sure that you have a complete protein. A complete protein, well, are considered proteins that our body does not produce naturally. So you have to get them from the foods you eat. And a complete protein has all the essential amino acids that the body can't produce on their own. Well, there are some that are vegan. Oh, Dennis, thank you. You what now? Yes, 62. You're higher level than me. What's a NOOB level 23? Oh, is that your age? Okay, cool. All right. Okay, thank you. And for that clarification. Yeah, I thought so. That for that confirmation, I mean, Oreos are vegan. Now, it depends on the chocolate. I love dark chocolate, so I found dark chocolate that is vegan, but not all. You can make chocolate with different products that are not vegan. Okay, or that are not dairy, excuse me. Okay, so to make like a couple of products that are complete proteins that are vegan include quinoa and all the soy products like tofu, tempeh, edamame, miso. People are still thinking that soy products can cause cancer. That is really something that has been revisited. Why? Because a lot of Asian countries and areas eat, that's their diet is soy, and they have less cancer than other like more industrialized nations or countries. Okay, and so soy is a healthy product. Avocado also is a complete protein, and buckwheat is a complete protein. There are other incomplete proteins that you can combine to make a complete protein, meaning they may have 4 or less than 9, and then you combine it with another product that has another food that has the other amino acids in them, and God is so good, nature is so good, they go together perfectly, and then they make complete proteins. So incomplete proteins include nuts, seeds, beans or legumes, some grains, some whole grains, spinach, cauliflower, things like that. If you put together grains and legumes like beans and rice, lentils and whole wheat bread, or corn and black beans, guess what? You have a whole protein. Yes, that will give you all the essential amino acids that your body doesn't make on its own, or if your body makes so little of it, you can't really count it. Another combination is nuts and seeds with legumes, like peanut butter and whole wheat bread, or salad with chickpeas and sunflower seeds. So one of the most helpful things that I do with my clients that I'm working with is I encourage them to use MyFitnessPal. Now, I also have another app that I use with it, but that app, if you use even the free version, I always get them to get the free version of MyFitnessPal, and I give them, we decide based on their goals, based on how they eat now, I give them a percentage of proteins, fats, and carbohydrates that they want to hit each day. And at least in the beginning, like for several months, I encourage them to record in MyFitnessPal all of the foods that they eat. Turn off the part of MyFitnessPal that calculates your calories that you burn, because I don't like that part of that program, because when you have that part of the program in there, it takes away from the foods that you eat, and it gives you the idea, oh, I can I can now, it subtracts from the amount of calories that you ate. And the body doesn't really work that way. So I think you should track how many calories that you burn and so forth, your workouts, but not against your food as far as becoming healthier in terms of your diet and weight. Okay, so that's it that I want to say today, my friends. I definitely went over. I'm trying to get to a point where I say all that I want to say in 10 minutes, 15 minutes max. So go ahead, put your things in the chat. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. You have greatness inside of you, and I believe in you. Bye for now.